Welcome. I'm so glad that you can join me here today. 246 out of 365 days of lesson 214 from 319. And this is an audio-visual version of my novel, TheSovereignLight, named after my ministry. And how do you do? My name is Rama. Reverend Maria Arvanitidis, and that is the acronym to my Patreon creator page. If you'd like to join and follow along with this from beginning to the end, or you can sample on Love's Creation Unlimited on my YouTube channel. And this is a course in metaphysical spirituality. And like always, for those who haven't, if this is your first time, what you want to do is find a place for about 15 minutes where you can just take some time out into this thing called timelessness and forget about what you have to do in about 15 minutes from now. If you're operating any vehicle or anything, just stop and just focus on your breathing and the space that you are in right now, in this present moment. And take a few deep breaths in and out. And just focus on this breathing. You can be sitting, you can be standing, you can be lying down, as long as you just have your back straight. And this is an excerpt covering 2 pages, 624 and 625. And we're at this level here called, what is a sovereign light being? And with that, we take this and we see how many answers we can get. The body's tension is reduced and it becomes spiritualized or less dense. The etheric body is somewhat of a darker field, and that the self will enter or let it enter, and it feels like a heavy drowsiness. It is the state of when the physical body, it feels paralyzed and cannot move after the astral travel begins. With intent, it can go and where the mind will conjure up. Then under this feeling, and just before coming out of it, will be another state to remember. To awaken within the dream, and then remember of it when coming back into the physical field of collapsing, into the most intense feeling there is, and that will remind the self of its experience, is the emotional body. To be in both worlds all at once can become of the self and somewhat vulnerable when it has not practiced and into that level of awareness, often long enough to stay there permanently. And so what are these states? These states are theta, beta, alpha, and yes, it sounds like I'm bringing the Greek alphabet into it, but those are the states. And we obtain those states through breath, through breathing. And when we practice through meditation, this is how we get. And what is this theta breathing that I ask of you every time to surrender and trust into, and decide for yourself your own discernment where you level up in this. Leverage it out. Are you breathing deep enough? And expanding your heart right open with every deep breath in, the deeper you're able to breathe, that will get you there into that theta or lambda or epsilon. But then again, those are those waves, those states. What state do you want to be in? You can further study and Google this up. For now, you can opt to have your eyes closed or open. And we begin with today to activate with this statement, this idea that we can reverberate and get us thinking differently perhaps, or in exchange to trigger something within us, within our circumstances, within the reflection of what we think is our circumstances, or whatever echoes might be reverberating from the statement. This is the affirmation for the day. And the more you can participate, whether you say it, whether you hear it, the more you will get out of it. So, would you like to, at this moment, say these words out loud with me so I can hear them? I am the light of my own truth, and with it, the emphasis of my reality. I am the light of my own truth, and with it, the emphasis of my reality. I am the light of my own truth, and with it, the emphasis of my reality. And in between, just take a deep breath in and out as far as you can allow to take these breaths. Will leverage out the state you're in. And you can take a few deep short ones, very sharp, and that will take you into alpha state as well if you'd like that. Whatever can take you out of that beta. In any event, shall we continue on? And with every breath in and out, whatever helps you get there, whether it be body movements, stretching, belly breathing. That means when you breathe in, your belly is out, and when you breathe out, your belly goes in. Or you can breathe from heart-centered breathing. Whatever the case, the mind can take you there, and you can leverage out with your own discernment pertaining how it feels for you. I am the light of my own truth, and with it, the emphasis of my reality. Something strange was witnessed by the self, and when metaphysically in lucid state, it astral projected in the night. It had left the body, and through the etheric it relaxed into the fear to soar much higher, and somewhere floating out from the room it had been laying in to meet its awareness, and on the balcony of physical existence. The balcony was protected from the outside and with the bird netting that for some reason made the self think it would not leave by passing through the netting. The only thing that stopped it from its travel and of its heart's desire was its thoughts. I am the light of my own truth, and with it the emphasis of my reality. And every time you get into those kind of experiences and situations throughout the day or any time that you can remember, just emphasize this statement to yourself to encourage and make you stronger through it. I am the light of my own truth, and with it the emphasis of my reality. So going through that bird netting was almost like the same as the fractals splitting into many fractals. And then again, when you look at a loaf of bread and the many slices, in the same way, each slice contains the same as the other. And yet, so many different worlds and realities that would depend on the frequency and on the state of being for its experience. This thought, it turned so very quickly to belief, and that the bird netting to separate it into many pieces. It could not bear to scatter in this way, and it thought up its limitation with just the thought of where it wants to be. It can get there, but instead got stuck, and by all the energy it had placed prior to build this netting. So it can be very draining to resist and stop yourself or fight against the many fractals of realities that one you wish to enter into will always depend on the frequency you're vibrating on, and that would be your state of being. So how do we become responsible over this? In fact, it is through our breath, through our thoughts, and how we feel. So, the physical can seem so very real and feel more physical after leaving the body. Likewise, the physical body has become much lighter and integrated a path on its atonement with its other bodies of itself, of its field. Today, practice toward atonement, at-one-ment, in that wholeness, and integrate the two worlds or the many worlds of the variations of those into one. By setting an intention before going to bed at night, think of something and visualize it. How does it feel? The feeling will be this memory, and that will connect it to another fractal timeline. The ideal state to be in is a hypnotic one, and where the self is most suggestible. And yes, that would be an alpha state, and you can look it up how to get there through the breath, or even delta state, and the theta is that of the deep breathing. Or you can take many shallow breaths and put yourself into the alpha state. In any given situation, the ideal state to be in is a hypnotic one, and where the self is most suggestible. Lucid dreaming into the depths of astral projection to travel beyond space and time. Eventually, whatever it is, a dream, it must be done with heart, becomes reality, and collapsing into physical manifestation of the one most preferred scenario. Well, if we can't accept it, and we don't believe it, because doubts break the heart, doubts break everything. So doubts break realities. So if we create exactly what we believe, and not always so unless we feel it. And we can feel it first and not have to make sense of it. Just feel good in whatever comes our way. So as we say, you never know what's around the corner. This is true. But it also relies very heavily on, not heavily or lighted, or however you want to know it, and feel it. And when you feel it, it happens. So sometimes, you can call them premonitions. They don't have to become once you take the charge out of it. So sometimes setting an alarm to wake up just before going too deep and during that rapid eye movement state, so to remember the experience. It is similar to that of a medical procedure and with head injury cases, so they do not go into a coma. So yeah, it's very much into that subconscious state, and could even take you into the unconscious, as they say, the unknowable. And so the need to know is irrelevant, you see. So however the self, so if you enter into that world, into that reality of the unknowable, the thing that takes you right out of it is fear. And your mind to not accept it. And to struggle, once you feel the struggle, then that's the resistance. And the fear will take you right out of any reality and take you into something lower, perhaps. So the need to know, and that's how you wake up from one reality into the other, you see. So the need to know is irrelevant. However, the self has come this far into this novel, this book, to be at that level of understanding in what I'm saying and using these examples straight out of the book without me having to make up any other ones for today, and of using feeling to guide in and out of where it is that it prefers to be. So you want $1 billion. Well, if you're traveling on this level and the $1 billion is on this level, how do you expect to get there? It'll keep coming, but it will be going around and keep coming this way, but you'll never see it because you're here. So the same thing with anything. What world do you want to be in? You can be in that world, but what level of that fractal reality of your holographic field? And when you say you can shift, you can, because everything is in motion from one moment to the next. This is why it's very important to be present 100% right here and now. So the purpose for today is to join the most powerful part of the mind, and that is the unconscious, that unknowable, the unknowable, with that, and the unconscious with the conscious, and combine that. Yes, we say subconscious, right? Combine the two into a higher consciousness of awareness. So this is the place where we actually create the reality. And so this is where that you can also, on a biological, scientific level, because they are glands, the pineal gland, the pineal gland, and you see, and so, and it is a form of alchemy and chemistry, and yes, it releases within our body, and yes, we do create within this plasmic field as we are and what we wish for. However, if we are not vibrating at that level, it doesn't matter whether it be a low one or a high one, it will not be able to reach us. The same goes for all the harshness and the things that we don't want, that the contrast from it, the harmful things as well, either or. And so with that said, I will leave you for today in this thought and let you further expand on this belief that you are the light of your own truth, and with it, the emphasis of your reality. And just let me hear you say it. I am the light of my own truth, and with it, the emphasis of my reality. I am the light of my own truth, and with it, the emphasis of my reality. I am the light of my own truth, and with it, the emphasis of my reality.